Time now for another Panther Spotlight as we take a look at the Ohio Dominican men's basketball team. And joining me today is a gentleman who is from Detroit, Michigan. He went to famed Tech High School, made a couple of stops along the way before making his way here to Columbus. And he had the distinguishing act of sitting in a class that I got to speak at twice this year to this gentleman. Terrance Broughton out of Detroit, Michigan. He is a senior, is our guest on Panther Spotlight here today. Let's talk about the basketball team first, and we're going to get into some other things. This has been one of the best. It's turning into record-setting in terms of wins, home, conference. In the Division II era, 15-plus years in ODU men's basketball. You've had an instrumental role in that as the starting point guard of this basketball team, but it has been such a fun watch. Why is this team so close? Why have you had the year that you guys have had this year?
Well, to speak on that, Todd, I really would say it's because of our coach, Coach Kaufman. Like the practices we have, everybody, like it's award day every single day, no matter if it's game day or what. If we play in another couple of days, like every day it's award in practice. And then not only that, but the guys, he's so good at bringing us together and just like we all hold each other accountable. Like older guys, younger guys we all hold each other accountable. So it just helps us become one. It helps us trust everybody, and then it brings us the outcome we want, which is wins. So I feel like that's why we're so close. And then we all also just hang out together as a team, off campus, on campus, like whenever we got the time. We just enjoy each other.
Started out on fire. Get into conference play, it's much harder. Hit a little bit of a lull, but now you've won 4 of the last 5 and heading into the stretch drive. What kept this team together? Was it just all the things you mentioned when things kind of got tough? And not only that, you've had a couple of games where things have gotten tough, right? Thomas More on the road, you scored the last 7 to win there. You're up 23 at Hillsdale, and you blink of an eye, you weren't winning anymore. Is it because it's just such a veteran group that things kind of stay together?
Absolutely, yes. I just think, like I said, the way practices go, we know we want to get offensively and defensively. Coach preaches on that so much to us, and he wants us to get it right. So that way, we are ahead of it, during the game. So, like you said, like just times where if we're winning a bunch or even if we're down, we all trust each other. We know how to weather the storm, and we just go off our instincts. Just when it's crunch time.
Is it because of all the veterans that you have, and I think there's 7 or 8 seniors that are going to be recognized on Saturday against Hillsdale, that you don't have to have one guy all the time stepping up and being that one leader, or is there somebody that's the leader of this group?
Well, really, I'll say it's a lot of guys because we don't really have just one guy we look at. I feel like everybody has a leadership role and like some way of the team. So mostly it is the older guys, but we also have some younger guys too who make leadership like just plays, and they just show us like their leadership like early on. And it works out for everybody. So
it's interesting because we see now in this era of players transferring. You did it twice, and we'll talk about why here in just a moment. But you brought in 2 guys this year, and Caleb Connard, who I know you already knew, but Logan Ryan, who you guys didn't know, and Rashid Nikiema, who you didn't know. Plus, you've got a young, interesting group of about 5 or 6 sophomores on this team that came in last year. It's an interesting group. You would think maybe the older guys would be like, get these younger guys out of here, but that's not how it's been.
No, not at all. The younger guys, like they came in and they were like ready to go. They really didn't want to, how do I put it, like fall back. They want to be right up, aligned with us, with the seniors. And so us seniors, I feel like this year we've done a good job of just like relaying the message on what we want to do for this year, and then just how practices go every day. But yeah, I think the young guys have took a real big step as far as like what we want out of the program, and
So the relationship that you have to have the closest is with freshman Kenny Scott. And we talked about this a little bit off the air. He's the one guy who's come in as a freshman playing lots of minutes. He's played some key minutes down the roll when you've actually had to sit a little bit.
Absolutely.
I've noticed that hasn't flustered you or upset you, but what's your relationship like with the freshman Kenny Scott?
Oh, man, that's my guy. He's really he's like a little brother, you know what I'm saying? And it makes it better that he's the only freshman. So a lot of times, we just get to mess around with him and stuff. But as far as just basketball-wise, he really is like locked in, and he's ready for the moment every single time. Like you mentioned, Thomas More game went down. He was ready for the moment. Hillsdale game, he finished out perfectly, clutching up those 2 free throws. So really, he's definitely like the younger brother of the team, and we all love him, and he's just a joy to be around. And yeah.
How'd you get here? You started at Malone with Coach Kaufman.
Yep.
He left to take the job here. You went elsewhere to Central Missouri, played a handful of games there, and then all of a sudden you show up here in Columbus at Sunbury Road. Did you want to follow Coach Kaufman? Was that kind of the plan in the back of your head?
Well,
or was there something else, and you could tell us that story too?
Yeah, it was definitely. So after he ended up leaving, my motive was really just I wanted to play basketball. I kind of didn't want to like get no extra years. Looking back on it, I probably should have took that extra year. But as far as just what I've been through before in my high school year, my junior year, I transferred and I had to sit out and lose that whole junior year, so I couldn't get that back. So in my mind, I was just thinking I wanted to play basketball.
Fresh in your mind at that point too.
Absolutely. So I wanted to play and just not have to sit out. But during that season, being at Central Missouri, it was kind of rough. Meeting a new coach, not really knowing who he is as a person and what his motive is or his intentions are. It was kind of tough.
And you were a mule.
Yeah.
Their nickname are the Mules. The women's team are the Jennies, so they actually have 2 different nicknames.
Yeah. But that I could give out a big shout out to Coach Kaufman for that, just because he stayed in contact with me. He was still watching like my stats, still watching some games, and noticed I wasn't playing and having the year I wanted to have. So he kind of asked what was going on, and I kind of really told him the truth about everything that was just going on about like the coach and how the team is and everything. So he really, I knew it was some love between me and him when he wanted me to come back, and I took the opportunity to come back, and he welcomed me back with open arms, and yeah.
Is the relationship between you and he and now Kenny Scott, because he was a guard in high school, does that bring you guys a little bit closer because he can obviously relate to what you're going through on the floor?
Absolutely, definitely.
Yeah, pretty cool. Tell me about growing up in Detroit. Were you actually in Detroit, suburbs of Detroit, or where were you exactly?
Younger, I was more growing up inside the inner city of Detroit, and then kind of older, I was kind of like on the outskirts, more of the suburbs of it. But growing up, it was blessing. I had everything I needed: food on the table, clothes on my back. I didn't have both parents in the house, but I still had both parents in my life. Well, fortunately not now, but growing up I did. But it was just fun growing up. I had older brothers as well, so that was also a blessing. Just learning from them growing up and getting beat up every day. So, yeah.
Are you a Detroit diehard sports fan?
I am.
That's too bad.
I'm glad that the sports teams are getting more competitive, and they're better now. Like definitely like the Lions and like the Pistons and stuff. Not too really much into baseball. I know like the Tigers have actually, I think they have some good seasons
they're
under
doing
the
pretty
belt
well right now.
Yeah, and then I have no relation to hockey. So yeah.
Well, I guess that kind of makes sense. I'm gonna have to take you down to a Blue Jackets game though, right? Let's get you down there.
Okay,
get you on some skates. No, not at all. Okay.
No,
all right. So then let me ask you this question, and we don't talk a lot about this, but Coach Macy Blankenship's dad is Chris Spielman, who works for the Detroit Lions. You had a chance to visit with him at all and talk? No.
I haven't.
Well, we got to get that connected then.
Absolutely.
I know Chris watches some of these, so we'll have to get you guys connected. You can talk about the Lions and growing up in Detroit. What about Cass Tech High School? How'd you end up there? And again, doing a little bit of research on it. I mean, it's a famed high school. It's a different type of technical type high school. How'd you end up there? What was your time like?
So, first 2 years I went to a school called Romulus High School. It's like outer city, Detroit metro, Detroit area, Wayne County. But I ended up there because I have a relative who plays for Arkansas's men's basketball right now, Darius Acuff Jr. He's younger than me, but he was going there, and his dad and my stepfather, they kind of wanted to, get that going where we play that one season and we can have like that one good season.
Yep.
And like that's kind of how I ended up at Cass. Just met the coach my junior year, and that's when I had to transfer and sit out because unfortunately, they don't take seniors at that school. Like you can't transfer going into your senior year. So, I just took that route, and the fact that I had to lose a year, it was still all worth it because not only did we have a great my senior year, but also got looked at for the first time. I had received my first offer from Malone University from Coach Kaufman, so it definitely wasn't no regrets. And just at the school, it was a blessing. Like the school is real focused on academics, so I was really blessed to be able to be able to focus on my academics more, be under a coach who, has like a lot of reputation, in the city of Detroit, and just playing with the guys who, I still talk to some of them to this day.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I really do miss them guys. I do miss that team. So it was all a blessing, being able to go there.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to keep track of friends now with the social media and phones and what we didn't have when I was growing up, for sure.
Right.
You're a sport management major here at ODU, and we joked about I do have the opportunity to I'll speak at a class or two, and you had two classes that I ended up speaking at. One was with Professor Cummings here the second semester, and Dave Sakuti, who's been a long time broadcasting colleague of mine, actually teaches a sports management class here. What did you learn in that class? What did you take away from listening to Professor Sakuti?
My takeaways, well, he actually taught us a lot, really, just as the sports management role, I guess you could say. He just taught us more, like, I guess you could say, like, the different jobs you have out of it, and he gave a lot of examples on, like, him and you guys on the broadcasting world, and just really he was just telling us, like, the best way to, I guess you could say, get yourself out there is like internships, and just taking opportunities, to get yourself out there and, be more known, not only as an athlete, but, is just whatever field, you want to go under. So
you just kind of got to dive in head first and start at the ground level and move your way all the way up.
Absolutely.
And you post college, because that'll be coming to a very end, and you want to get into the sports management world. Is there a specific area that you would like to get into? I know we've talked a little bit about the broadcasting side, but if you want to make real money doing this, by the way, what would you like to get into in that field?
I think I'm leaning towards more the sports agency field and even broadcasting, because I think it's pretty fun. I see the commentators on TV, how they have a ball, and I see like what you do and the work you put in, for us to be successful as a team. And yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards both fields, but I guess I gotta pick one, sooner or later.
You don't always have to pick one. You can do a lot of different things. Plus, you still want to continue your basketball playing days. And what people maybe don't realize, there's a lot of opportunities overseas to play professional basketball. I know you're thinking about that as well.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, just the year I had, I still, I still had the love for the game. I didn't want to stop playing after college. Like, that was always my motive, even growing up as a kid. I know a lot of us have NBA dreams, but, as you get older, reality kind of starts to set in. But, it's always a blessing that there's still some way to make money playing the sport of basketball and even being in a whole different country, continent, whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I know Coach refuses to let me talk standings or anything about that with your basketball team. All right. He's already yelling at me about this. But nose to the grindstone right now. 4 games remaining. Conference tournament is looming as well. What's the main focus right now for this basketball team?
Right now, main focus is to just keep winning. Really, our focus is on defense. I think we're a good offensive team within the conference itself, but defense, is what's win games and what's win championships.
This past weekend, for
Absolutely,
sure.
Definitely.
Yep.
So, our main focus is defense, but the main outcome is also just winning, staying together. Even when times get tough, when we hit a little adversity, main focus is if we stay together, then I feel like we're unstoppable.
All right, well, this is normally our pregame routine, but we'll do it to wrap up the interview today.
Yeah,
all
appreciate
right.
you, boss.
Terrance Broughton is our guest today on Panther Spotlight, and you can catch all those games on Flow College and watch the men's basketball team as they wrap up their season for the next couple of weeks. Thanks for being with us on Panther Spotlight. This is Todd Bell.